Hello, friends. I hope you all are doing well. And This is my third video on my IGTV. And today I'll be having a special guest, and we'll be talking about a very intense topic. And I have chosen this topic because from yesterday I have been really very sad. Uh, it's because of the death of the Bollywood actor Sushant Singh Rajput. I have seen his movies, and I have liked him in almost most of the movies that he has featured in, and especially MS Dhoni, Chichore, and PK, Kai Poche, and things like that. A very brilliant actor. Uh, in a very early stage of his life, he couldn't fight his depression, heartbreak, the lockdown, and things like that. I don't know exactly for what reason he took his life, and he could not fight it anymore. But in these extraordinary times of our lives, depression is increasing every day. Suicide rate is skyrocketing. So we should do something collectively to eradicate this phenomena, to decrease the amount of suicide as much as possible. People sometimes judge others who have suicidal thoughts or who had suicidal thoughts in dealing with depression and pain in their lives, and they judge them. They say that these are coward souls, they don't know how to process pain. Yes, they don't know how to process pain, but they are not coward souls, because we all go through problems, we all go through situations which are not nice and pleasant. But we all don't have the capacity to fight with depression, to fight with stress, to fight with thoughts of failure, to fight with heartbreak and things like that. And there could be a lot of situations which can lead to suicidal thought and self harm. And it could be heartbreak, it could be divorce, it could be failure in exam, or failure of career, or failure of business. It could be body shaming, it could be so many things that can lead you to the path of taking your own life. But taking your own life can never be a solution, because your life itself is the biggest gift that you can have and experience and explore for yourself. And to give it away just like that is never a solution. But I empathize with those people like Sushant Singh Rajput, and there are so many other celebrity, non-celebrity, and general people who have committed suicide. They actually have gone through enormous pain of unpleasantness and distress to commit something like that. And it is not a matter of joke to do something like that in a moment where you feel that nothing matters in your life and you don't want to live anymore. So I empathize with them, but I also want to encourage people to not to take a decision, and to not to go up, to not to choose that kind of path where will you will kill yourself, and you will cause sorrow, pain for your friends, relatives, and mostly your parents. So we should not do this kind of thing. And today, in the beginning of my video, I said that I'm going to be bringing a guest, and that guest is none other than my wife, Katrina Gabriel, who is an intuitive therapist, and who's been dealing with people's emotions, and also like who's been dealing with patients or clients who have suicidal thoughts, and and could successfully make them overcome these self-harming thoughts. So I'm going to be calling her in, and yeah, now Katrima is coming on. So Katrima, what goes on in people's mind when they think of committing suicide?
So many things. I mean, I think we'd be generalizing if we said that we knew everything that is going on in somebody's mind. But generally speaking, it's when people come to a threshold of not being able to cope anymore. And it could be obviously a number of reasons. And different people cope differently. Our job as human beings is not to minimize. Obviously, you can't minimize suicide.
Yeah.
Right? But you cannot also minimize people's feelings, people's thoughts, people's depression, people's worry, anxiety. I do a lot of lives, you know, and I keep telling people not to worry, not to do this, not to do that. That's generalizing. People will worry. People will get depressed. Life is tough for many. And different people have different coping mechanisms. But what I would say today, every suicide case is heartbreaking, cannot be understood fully by anyone but that person. But we can try to understand, to better equip ourselves to hear people when they speak, to understand what they're not saying. People hide it well, and we don't know what's going on in somebody else's shoes, right? They look happy, they could be smiling, they could be mingling with other people, but what are they truly feeling? Yeah. We don't know until they speak, and sometimes people try to speak, and yet we don't hear the words properly because we think, they're feeling a little bit low or whatever. And some people won't speak at all, they keep it all inside, and that's really hard for them. And I've seen a lot of posts, and you've seen them too, Saadat, on Facebook, and people saying, let's try and understand suicide. Let's try and understand self-harm. Let's try and understand depression. I don't want you to do any of that. I want people to understand people. Because those feelings of suicidal thoughts, depression, anxiety, worry, it's in all of us. So there's no point understanding each of those subjects. We need to understand people. We need to share a connection with others where even if they feel so low that they can kill themselves, that they know there's somebody who hears me, who sees me. You know, we as human beings, we all look for connection. We don't just look for conversation. Conversation can be had with anyone. But it's the connection that
means the world.
Means the world. And it could mean, you know, the difference between life and death for someone.
Yeah.
And as human beings, we are all connected. We are all individuals, but we are all connected on a you know, super level. But we don't realize it.
On a conscious level.
On a conscious level.
That's what we always say.
Yeah. And this is what I try and tell people. Please don't all try and be doctors and therapists and coaches. Be human beings, yeah. If you do your job of being a human being, you will save lives.
True.
Because the people who feel alone, even with people around them, they're not feeling the connection. And one thing I want to say, we're so connected to our devices, we're so connected to our phones and our laptops and our iPads, we are forgetting human interaction. And I was talking to Saadat earlier, actually. We were just having a conversation, and I was saying, you know how funny it is that we go into a cafe and we're with our friends, and there might be somebody sitting alone and waiting for someone, or maybe they don't have anyone to wait for. Maybe they're just sitting alone and having a coffee or having a bite to eat.
Yeah.
When you look at them, don't just watch over their head. Make eye contact. Maybe a stranger, it doesn't matter. We're all strangers. Our husbands and wives are strangers because deep inside we're all individual people who are coping with our own issues, you know. So if a person is sitting alone, And we have a tendency of looking at that person. You make a little bit of an eye contact and you look away. Why? Why look away? Don't look away.
No.
Whether it's a
True.
man or a woman, and just make eye contact. Ensure that you give them the validity that they're there and you have seen them. You don't know what anyone's going through. It's as bad somebody who kills themselves and you don't know them, and somebody who kills themselves and you know them. It's the same thing. It's a life lost because of lack of connection, because of lack of understanding, and because they feel so alone. I mean, come on, it's just be human, be smiling at people, make them feel they're a part of everything that you are. It's being human on another level, maybe you might say, but that's the level that we need to be on, and we need to work towards that. So suicide, self-harm, all of those things can be avoided, but in time, if you learn to interact with people who are not just friends and family, but with people who are total strangers. Give them an ear, but never minimize what they're feeling. I mean, I've heard a lot of friends say, it's okay, look at how good your life is and somebody else's life is worse. Don't compare. It's not something you can compare. Every individual has their own burden. And I think we as human beings, if we open up our lives, our connections, our empathy, our compassion, those are the qualities that will keep people with us rather than losing them for whatever reason. Yeah.
Yeah. So, thank you, Katrina, for your invaluable comments and the wisdom that you just shared now. And I really want to thank you really from the bottom of my heart, because I have gone through a lot of TED Talks, a lot of videos on suicides, and a lot of articles on suicide. Like how to tackle your emotion, how to manage your stress in that moment where you don't commit suicide. But the wisdom that you shared in this video, it's really truly invaluable, and I really want to thank you for that. You are kind of making me emotional, because I am learning from you every day, and you made me learn so much. Thank you. And
I'm so proud of you. Anyway, it's nice that you're touched, but I'm tearful because I feel for all those people who are not being understood, and there's people amongst us who are not being understood, and it's not about telling people that my door is open, you can talk to me, because those people who cannot express themselves cannot talk to you. We have to take that first step and make everyone inclusive, not exclusive. You don't exclude them, you include them in every manner of every step you take as human beings. If we are more compassionate and loving creatures that we're meant to be, this is how we're meant to be. Life and the world. I've never cried on video. Life and the world will be a different place. And I'm sad for everyone going through what they're going through. And I think we don't have to be alone. We can hold each other and take each other by the hand and say, this is how it's done. We are actually, every human being has something for someone. Reach out and touch the people that you care for, but reach out also for the people you don't know. And that means a person on the street who walks by you, don't minimize who they are because of the job they do, because of what they have. Everyone has that light. Connect to that light within them, no matter who they are. It doesn't matter if you don't know them. You know that fleeting moment you pass someone on the street, you can impact them just by walking past them. You don't have to talk to them, but you just make an eye contact and you see them. And that's all they crave for. And that person may go home happy because somebody actually acknowledged them. It's as simple as that. It's not difficult. It's not difficult.
So, thank you so much. I think I'm going to call it a day.
Yeah, I think so.
And thank you so much once again for tuning in. And thank you so much for all the love and support and all the views that you give me. And if you want to follow us, then you can find us on Facebook, YouTube, and also Instagram. And like Katrina said, love conquers everything. So create meaningful connection, cultivate the culture of compassion, and every life matters, and give some love to everyone. Thank you.
And I apologize.
No, it's not a problem. Thank you so much.